Alberto, Robert, what's going on, guys? Happy Monday, and welcome everyone to our first of many, hopefully weekly hangouts slash Q&A. So I'll give you guys as people are coming in right now. The lay of the land is that we're going to talk a little bit about the leaderboard, kind of a little like commentary, kind of as the games are going on. Think of it like we're now in the box seats of the Hunger Games, if you will, discussing the players on the board and some of the fun stuff that's going on there. We will be talking about the hot group that just fired off the top. Probably the most MR that's been generated in a 24-hour period in games history, which is awesome. Anime Shreds and Nate Belmar. I think Luke Belmar is also, I think they're brothers that run this whole community together. And so we'll be talking about that. And then after that, we're going to open up for Q&A. And so it's going to be very much based on where you guys want to wherever you guys want to take it, and we'll do our very best to just deliver some val, which is short of value for those of you guys who are new. And go from there. So right off the bat, congrats to the Belmar Bros with Anime Shreds just popping off. Sam, do you want to talk about the pricing strategy? Because I think they had a pretty interesting pricing strategy, and I can talk about the traffic stuff afterwards.
Yeah, this was cool to see. They did, like, if I go to their about page, it's $22 a month now, but they launched it at $11 a month. And their whole strategy was to tell everyone that you have to join in the next like 48 hours if you want to lock in the price at 11. And that drove like a huge surge of people signing up because there's obvious like urgency because the price is going to double. But what's also cool about this is it makes it harder to cancel too after the fact, because now if you're in at $11, if you cancel and want to join again, you have to pay 22. So it's pretty smart strategy, honestly.
Yeah, reverse FOMO, or fear of missing out after you're already in. It's like the cover charge at the door going up. You're like, do you really want to leave? One of the interesting things that I saw, because I immediately Googled them, Luke at least has a YouTube channel that he's got like 400,000 subscribers on, but his last video was like 7 months ago. If you then look at, he's super active on Twitter, it looks like. And so he's a big following on X rather. And if you look at recent stuff for Zagram, which he has a decent following there on, not that frequent on Instagram either. The last one was like March 11th. And so it looks like this may have been, I mean, the only one that I'm seeing activity on, unless you guys see something that I don't, would probably be, my guess would be email and X. Pretty interesting. And I think what that does show is the difference, because there's some, so I'll probably dovetail this into my point around influencers in general. So I made a video, if you guys haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. But one of the key points that I want to highlight here is the difference between, like, there are some people who have 400,000 subscribers, and then there are people who have an audience of 400,000 people who pay attention to everything they do. And it looks like, based on the buyer activity that they had, the Belmar brothers had, that it was obviously more the latter than the former. The amount of authority and influence you have within an audience based on the goodwill that you've generated over a long period of time and how true to the mission that you are and the brand that you're trying to build will dictate conversion over a longer period of time in much higher numbers. And so if you are going to partner with a super influencer, then thinking through, like, does this person just get lots of likes, or is there something that they have authority over? There have been plenty of stories on both sides of the aisle here. Even some mega influencers. You look at like a Charlie D'Amelio. She started a popcorn line, and it didn't really do very well. And on the other hand, you've got like some very niche influencers. So some of you guys know Becker. He started Neo Tokyo, and that's done exceptionally well. And he doesn't have nearly the size audience that the D'Amelio sisters do, but the audience that he has authority with, and they trust him. And so, you know, I think D'Amelio's, I don't think popcorn at all. It just kind of feels like a product they put their name on. And so it's making sure that the community that you're trying to build is also super relevant to whatever the topic of that influencer has authority on and is the greatest value to their audience. So just as a fun one, things to consider when you're making your partnerships, if you're looking at partnering with a mega influencer. But well done to the Belmar Bros.
My understanding of the way they launched was to a Telegram group, and a large part of how they grew their audience was going on massive podcasts. So they're great at networking. They go on the big podcasts. And my understanding is they put them into a Telegram group. They're really good at like persuasion. They have a us versus them mentality. They have internal phrases that they use inside of the group, like glitches and if you know, you know. And I also think it's really cool how there's a fitness group. It's been there, done that, most saturated market ever, but they put a spin on it by making it around anime. And now it's all of a sudden a new, exciting, interesting thing.
Super cool. Yeah. So well done to those guys.
I also think one thing they did well is if you look at this page, it's kind of like a video game. Like, you know, when you first join a game and there's some dialogue, like you're maybe talking to some wizard person and they welcome you and then they give you a mission and things like that. It has that kind of feel to it, which just makes it a little bit more interesting, honestly. Like, it caught my attention. Instead of just stating a lot of things you're going to get or value or whatever, it's just more interesting and more fun.
And I think this also goes to show that, contrary to the kind of prevailing belief, you can absolutely make money without having to sell making money, which I think is great too. But I love the angle that they went on with this. It's very cool.